All right, well, good afternoon. My name is Sam Phillips, and I'm going to be doing my lesson plan number 3 for EDSE 633. I just wanted to take you through the things that are on the board because from where the camera sits, you won't be able to read them. First of all, those are my goals for what the students are going to be learning today. I can read and comprehend a short story, and I can learn new vocab through textual clues. And then also the materials that the students are going to need. You can see that what you need is the notebook, pencil for sure. And the iPad is optional. And then today's activities. The welcome, I'll go through that. The social studies vocab match. Then a short story, comprehension activity. Comp is short for comprehension. And then write your ending, which is how they're going to demonstrate their comprehension. And then the Frayer vocab building, which is how I'm going to end the hour. And Frayer vocab model is up here on the board. You can see if you get a little bit closer what they says, the description. Or describe the term using your own words. Give 3 facts about the term. The antonym, so what this is not like. And a synonym is what is something like. All right. That's kind of the background information you need to know. This is an 8th grade classroom for a pull-out classroom that I am intending on sharing this lesson with. Hope you enjoy. Well, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a good weekend. I had a great weekend. I caught all kinds of fish, and you know how I like to do that. Well, let's get started. I'm excited to be here, and hopefully you are too. First, what you're going to need to be successful today is 1, your notebook. We're going to be taking some, we're going to be doing some writing today, and you're going to be able to do it in either your notebook or on the iPad. That's optional, whichever one you prefer. But you're definitely going to need to have a pen and/or pencil as a part of this for some other types of activities that we're going to do when we get to the Frayer model. Today, we're going to focus in on the ability to read and comprehend a short story, and you're going to demonstrate that comprehension through predicting the endings. And then we're going to also learn some new vocabulary through contextual clues. So through reading the words that have surrounded the vocab word, we're hopefully going to be able to come up with a definition. Today's activities are as follows. The welcome, which I'm going through right now. We're going to do a little social studies vocab match. Vocabulary is extremely important, and I know you're working on social studies or some vocabulary on landforms and social studies, so we're going to focus on that for maybe the first 5-10 minutes, get you up, get you moving around. I think you guys will enjoy that activity, and plus it'll get us warming up for what we're going to be doing in our, as far as English is concerned. Then you're going to have a short story comprehension activity. The comp stands for comprehension. You're going to be reading a short story that I've selected for the various reading levels, and then you're going to be writing your own endings. Okay? And then finally, we're going to do the Frayer vocab building activity, and that we're going to get started today and hopefully have enough time to finish. But I'm fully aware that it might be a little bit too much to ask you to get all of these things accomplished in 1 hour. Okay? So please get out your materials. Let's get started. All right. Well, let's get started with our first activity. Thank you guys for getting out your materials. I appreciate it. But all you're going to need so far today to start this first activity, we're going to work on a little bit of our social studies vocabulary matching. Okay? Now I'm going to explain to you how this is done. Okay? Each of you guys has regular social studies, and I know that. And I also know that you're working on vocabulary in that class, and you're working on that vocabulary with landforms. What I've done is all throughout the room, I've posted up various different definitions of landforms. Okay? The landforms are as follows. We have peninsula, ocean, bay, island, lake, etc. They go on. Now I have 24 different landforms here, and I have 8 of you. So how many of you guys, or how many landforms do you think you're going to have to find the definition to? That's right, 3 apiece. So what I would do then is I would hand out 3 of these to each person, and then I would give them the direction to walk up, stand up, walk around the room, find the different definition to the vocab word, and match it up. And then they'll have a little piece of tape that they would stick it up by. Okay, after they were done doing that, I would then go around the room and stop at each vocab word, and I would say atoll. I would say small ring of coral, or of islands made of coral. And then I would confirm or disconfirm that definition, and hopefully they had matched it up with the proper one. For example, valley, hopefully being matched with the proper definition for valley. If it wasn't, I would be also walking around while they're doing it, trying to kind of guide them in the right direction. But definitely going over them after we're done with each one of the vocab words after each kid has returned to their seat. Okay, you guys did a great job with the social studies vocab match. Thank you so much for giving that a good effort, and I appreciate your effort because sometimes I know with words you're unfamiliar with, it's tough to take that risk, especially in front of the class, but you guys did a great job, okay? Well, next thing that I want to do is we're going to do our short story comprehension, in which you're going to write your own endings to demonstrate to me and to the rest of the class, one, how creative you can be, and two, just how well you comprehend a given story, okay? How this is going to work is I've given each of you guys a number, okay? You're in either a 1, a 2, or a 3, and one other person will have a similar number to you in this class, okay? But you're going to work on this by yourself. The number part's going to come in for your story, and then for your partner a little bit later on. What I want you to do is there's a couple of tables in the back of the room. One has a 1, one has a 2, and one has a 3. At each of those tables is several different readings. Okay, I want you to go back and I want you to find one of those readings. They're pretty short, but I want you to find one of those readings that matches up with your number, and I want you to return to your desk with that reading. Now what I would do here is the reason why they're going back and it's a 1, 2, and 3 is because I don't want to announce to the class that, hey, this kid's really at a reading level of this high, and this one's way down here. So I just disguised it by saying 1, 2, or 3, but really those are coinciding reading levels. At each desk, they would have readings that would coincide with whatever level that they were at. In this class, I'm going to guess that there's going to be either around the 7th, 8th, 6th, 5th, maybe grade level readings. So I have all the readings would be kind of organized in that fashion. All right. Well, thank you guys for going to get your materials and those readings so quickly. I appreciate that. I think you're really going to enjoy this activity because it's going to allow you to be creative as well as have a little bit of fun with this at the same time. Each one of you guys has a story, okay, that you selected that you're interested in. All right. What you're going to do is you're going to read your short story. It's no longer usually than probably a page or so, but you're going to notice that your story ends abruptly, and that's where you come in. What I would like you to do is use the information that you read in your story. Use the information that you read to come up with a new ending, or an ending that how you think the story is going to end. Okay? Now, my requirements for that is that you have 5 sentences, and that somehow you can tell that your ending can be justified by what it is that you read prior. Okay? Now you can either use the iPad or you can use a notebook and pencil. Either one of those is fine by me. Now, what I would do next actually is I would then go, okay class, now here's an example of what I do. And I would read my 1-page little story, and then I would also flip to my next page and I would read them the ending that I came up with for the story, just to give them some good modeling of what it is that I'm looking for. Story, and then I would also in my ending have pieces of evidence from the story so they can know, or so they'll be able to recognize that the ending has to be somehow attached to what they read, so they're cohesive, so they can demonstrate to me that they comprehend exactly what it is that the story was trying to tell them through their ending. Okay, well after the students were done, or after I was done reading my example, I would then look to the students to begin working. I'd give them a considerable amount of time for this, taking into consideration their difficulties with comprehension and other things. They would read their stories, and then they would come up with their new endings. Okay, and then we would get together in a circle, and I would have the students read each of their stories, or not necessarily read their stories, but give a summary of what their story was, and then read their ending word for word. At that point in time, I would be able to check for whether or not their story and their ending had connections, because obviously I would have already pre-read these stories. Whether or not they're demonstrating comprehension through writing their own ending. Hey class, first of all, I just want to congratulate you guys on not only writing great endings, but doing a great job at being on task with that activity. I was super impressed with how hard you worked, and you guys came up with some fantastic endings, and you really connected the ending to the story, which is what it was all about. You were able to demonstrate comprehension, and I'm happy and I'm very proud of you guys for that. The next thing that I want you to do, if you guys notice, the story that you read has some words that are highlighted in it. Okay? Whatever story it is that you have has some words that are highlighted in it. And there's also somebody else in this class that has the same number that you were given at the beginning of the story. What I want you to do is partner up first with that other person who has the same number as you, and then between you two, just select a story. It's got to be one of the 2 stories that you guys already read, but select one of those 2 stories, okay? Okay, now that you guys have selected your story between the 2 of you, what I want you to do now is I'm going to hand out one of your Frayer model activities for vocab. I'm going to hand out one of each of those to you guys, and you're going to have one per group. Okay, so thank you for taking one of those. And now, here's what you're going to do. You're going to select first one of those highlighted words in your reading. All right? Now, I went through and I highlighted some specific words that were that should be difficult, but not super hard for you to be able to figure out their meanings. Okay? What I want you to do is look at those highlighted words, find one that's challenging to you, and I want you to use the words that are around it, or the contextual clues, to figure out what the definition of that word might be. Okay? Now, once you do that, I want you to plug that definition in to your Frayer model. First, you're going to write that word in the middle. So let's say your word was thumb. You would write thumb, T-H-U-M-P. Then, up here in the description, you would write your own definition. Okay? In your case, for whatever word you chose that was highlighted, you would write the definition you came up with based on the contextual clues that were around it. Okay? So make sure that you're looking at the other words, helping them, or using them to help you make sense of the word. So you write your definition, then you can come up with 3 facts, okay, or 3 interesting facts about that word. Maybe perhaps what its origin is and things like that. And I have no problem with that if you want to use the dictionaries that we have in the back of the room. Then I want you to come up with a synonym, so what it is like, and then an antonym, what it is not like. You can write these things in, you can illustrate these things in if you want to use drawings to help make sense of what it is that you have. But each of the groups is going to create one of these posters. All right, great job with that, guys. You guys all created your posters. You all did a good job. Now, the next thing that I want you to do is everybody grab a piece of tape, and you're going to put them up around the room, okay? Then what we would do is we do a carousel activity where I would have one student stand by their poster, and the other student is going around to the other posters. So if there's groups of 2, one person will be going around while the other one's explaining what their word is and so on to the other classmates. And then they'll switch roles. That person will go back to theirs and so on. Now, I understand, as I said in the very beginning, that this lesson very likely would take more than one day, but it is something that you could build on.